is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Pray for us, O Holy Mother of God, that we may be made worthy of the promises of Christ. Let us pray. Pour forth, we beseech thee, O Lord, thy grace into our hearts, that we, to whom the incarnation of Christ thy Son was made known by the message of an angel, may, by his passion and cross, be brought to the glory of his resurrection, through the same Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thanks for listening to KATH 910 AM, Frisco, Dallas, Fort Worth, and North Texas. Catholic radio for your soul on the Guadalupe Radio Network. Heard also at grnonline.com and on your smartphone. Live from the KATH 910 AM studios in Las Colinas and broadcasting across North Texas on the Guadalupe Radio Network. This is The Good News Show.
And good afternoon. Welcome to The Good News Show here on this June 20th. Had to check my computer to see what the date was. I've been on vacation the last week, so I'm a little rusty, but good to have you with us. Things are a little bit different today. We don't have Sissel running the board because Sissel is on vacation herself, and she is off in Scandinavia visiting her brother, who's a student at the University of Dallas, and her sister Tova flew over there as well. I'm sure Sissel is listening because, you know, when you have the app, you can literally listen anywhere in the world. And so I'd be highly offended if she is not listening right now. No, of course, I'm kidding. Glad to have you with us. Diane is running the board, and we have a full studio here right now. We have a really wonderful young man who is interning with us. He's currently 17 years old. In fact, just turned 17 last month, but had a party last weekend, right? William Kirkendall. He's going to join us at the very end of the show, last 10 minutes, and talk about why in the world would a high school student want to spend some of their hours in summer, you know, here at the radio station. It happens every summer. We always enjoy and appreciate the young people that do spend time with us. And so he'll talk about himself and, you know, why he's doing it, and also an interesting connection between his parents, especially his dad, and Catholic radio. Okay, so I'll tell you all that. Also, Ingrid Meyer, who works with the Catholic pro-life community, is here in studio as well. And very interesting connection between our upcoming Summer Speaker Series event and Ingrid's great passion that she has for Our Lady of Guadalupe. In fact, I went to a presentation with my now 13-year-old daughter. I think she was about 10 at the time, where we heard Ingrid speak about Our Lady of Guadalupe. And to this day, my daughter has a great devotion to her. And whenever we pray the rosary at the end, she prays, Our Lady of Guadalupe, pray for us. And I think it has something to do with Ingrid's talk. So we'll talk about that in just a second. And then at the, as if that wasn't enough, a young man by the name of David Sear, whose parents I know well, Tom and Sue Sear, are just amazing pro-life just advocates. And they have instilled in their kids somehow, some way, they've got, I think, 4 boys, just a zeal for evangelization, a zeal for the faith, and a zeal for life. And they're all out there doing things. And David is going to be going to Ireland and France, I believe on July 1st, with a group called Tradition, Family, and Property, okay, TFP. The whole purpose is to do like public witness. You know, and they go there. I mean, they talk about marriage, they talk about abortion, they talk about all these things, and also talking to young people over there. And I just thought it was so cool. And David also is trying to raise some money to pay for his flights, and I think he has to raise a total of a couple $1,000s. I think he's almost halfway there. I donated to it, and so we're going to talk about Tradition, Family, Property, the school that he's going to right now up in Pennsylvania, why he's spending his summer evangelizing overseas. What a great opportunity that's going to be. So David will join us on the phone here at the bottom of the hour, and then William at the very end, and then Ingrid here in just a couple of minutes. Before that, though, I just want to mention last week, as I mentioned, I was on vacation. It was a staycation. I've never really done that before. Take a whole week off and don't go anywhere. And thanks be to God because of the gas prices. Who wants to go anywhere these days, right? We had fun. Went to Great Wolf Lodge. Did urban air. Took my son out to a lot of things, swimming and all that. And I came in one time last week. It's because I wanted to wish Diane a happy birthday and give her a little gift. So, Diane, you had a birthday last Thursday, right?
Yes, I did. I turned 42, and it's still a blessing to be alive and do the work of God.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to you. Did you do anything special? Did your family take you out or anything? Or?
No, not really. I just, went to church in the morning and prayed and just went about my business.
So you went to Mass on your birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. All right. Well, happy 42 years of life to you, Diane. And many, probably about a quarter of that has been spent
yes,
working
with
with
Guadalupe Radio.
Yeah. A couple other things. We're all waiting for this Supreme Court decision to come down on the Dobbs case. And I mean, I'm not thinking about it incessantly, but it's like, come on already. I mean, can you please just everybody's waiting and, the leak and all that kind of stuff. Well, I have some inside information because I was in communication with Geraldine Kaminsky, who's the executive director of the CPLC, and also Susan Platt. And I said, what do you think is going to happen? When is this going to come down? And they sent me an email. And Geraldine said that there are going to be some decisions to come out Tuesday and Thursday of this week. These are designated opinion days. And she said she had spoken with another local pro-life leader who thinks it's not going to be until July 1st, okay, and in advance of the long holiday weekend. And Susan, I think they're both, Susan and Geraldine, are in agreement that it might be not until July, okay? But of course, like I said, there will be some decisions this week, but in the end, who knows? It'll come when it comes, and we got to keep praying. Susan shared something with me that's really cool, though. I didn't know about this. There is a group called On Our Knees, a national prayer initiative for life. Every Monday evening at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, for 15 minutes, they have a call where you can get on and you can pray with co-founder Sherry Schultze and Marjorie Dannenfelser of Susan B. Anthony List. And so if you want to get on that call tonight, just email me. I could give you the phone number. You probably don't have a pen ready, but I'll say it one time, and then if you want it again, email me. 833-380-0736. Okay, what's the chance everybody wrote that down when I say it that quickly? But email me, Dave Palmer at grnonline.com. Or, of course, you can contact the CPLC, and they know about it as well. All right, real quickly, otherwise, there is a summer speaker series coming up on July 21st. Bishop Joseph Strickland is going to be our speaker. The topic of his talk is Engaging in Battle, Empowering the Laity in 2022. Okay, so that's a month from tomorrow. All right, so we're starting to run out of time, and we've sold a lot of tickets so far. I'm hoping that we have 400, 500, 600 people that show up for this, and there's going to be food, there's going to be wine, great talk by Bishop Strickland. And so if you just, if you kind of just thinking, gosh, there's so much crazy stuff going on in the culture these days, and you just want to hear a really courageous and wise shepherd of the church speaking. It's going to be at the Frontiers of Flight Museum, and again, food and wine and a great talk. Tickets are $75 and also helps us during these difficult summer months as well. And I have not been here since the Summer Share-a-thon, so thank you to everybody who donated. 2 weeks ago during the Share-a-thon, we did hit the overall goals. And so we will have Catholic Radio on for the next 3 months.
And I just want to thank all our donors, because without them, this would not be possible.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the Summer Speaker Series. So get your tickets, because there's only a month left.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Toya always says when we have share-a-thons that the summer months are tough. Well, I saw the financial report that our president sent out, and the summer is brutal. It really is. And so, this is a fun way to support the station. You get to come and hear a great talk, and, there will be an ask, and you can make an additional donation if you want. But just come out and have some fun and hear a great talk and be with us. Again, go to summerspeakerseries.com, summerspeakerseries.com. What do you think, Diet? If we sold 5 different people bought tickets just during this hour, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, you don't want to miss this. If there's any bishop you want to hear from, it's Bishop Joseph Strickland. He is speaking out against the culture that is trying to harm us.
Yeah,
today.
Exactly. So summerspeakerseries.com. If you're listening right now and you're planning on going anyways, don't wait till like the last week because we have to put a number in for catering and all that kind of stuff. So please buy your tickets ASAP, and we hope to see you on July 21st. All right, so the connection between our in-studio guest Ingrid Meyer and the Summer Speaker Series event is that we have a mutual friend by the name of Dan Hennessy. Dan is the founder of the Highland School, right?
Yes.
Isn't it like it started like in his house, I think?
In a garage.
Yeah, in his garage many years ago. And take it away from there, because I spoke with Dan and he proposed some. Well, he offered me a great blessing for our event. And then he said, but you got to talk to Ingrid because she's in charge of it. So fill in the blanks. And what are we talking about?
So we are talking about the image, a relic image of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And this is a very special image. There's only a certain amount of them in the world. And somehow Dan, because of his generosity in helping out somebody, was able to get an image. So he donated that image to the Highland School in Irving. So this image is there in the chapel. And since I give talks on the symbols and the meaning of the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and I have a new talk coming up, and you'll like this one.
Okay.
It's Our Lady of Guadalupe, Christ-centered, and her pro-life mission.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. Good timing for that, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
especially with everything going on, right?
That she was pregnant in that.
She
That's
was
significant.
pregnant.
Yes.
It's very important because if you go back to all the different apparitions of Our Lady of Guadalupe, well, the only one where she physically stayed with us is the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico. And then some years later, she stayed in a little piece of cloth, very tiny. It's Our Lady of Coromoto in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's it's kind of interesting because, like with the Saint Faustina, Jesus asked that an image be drawn, right? And then with Guadalupe, it was left with Juan Diego on his tilma.
It was imprinted on his tilma.
Yeah, and you wonder why at the other ones, like Lourdes and Fatima and some of these other ones, they didn't do that. It would be nice to have something a little bit more
Different
official,
mission.
right? Yeah,
Different
mission, right?
you know?
So I know you love talking about Our Lady Guadalupe and the image, the tilma and all that, and I want to get into a lot of that. But let's talk about at the event on Thursday, July 21st that I just mentioned. This is going to be present, right?
Yes.
And we're planning on putting it up on the stage, and that's the plan right now. But
Yes.
what's the advantage, spiritually, to having something like this at an event that we're having?
Well, first of all, she's very special image. She's not just like any image. St. John Paul II, and let me read you so I don't get it wrong, what he said in 1979, the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe will be the center from which the light of the gospel of Christ will illuminate the entire world by the means of distribution of the miraculous image of his mother. So because of this, he wanted there to be in every country an image that would be, going and visiting as a pilgrim image, right? In every country of the world. So this is one of those.
Did every country get one? I mean,
Yes.
literally every country.
So he had 220 made, 197 countries. We are blessed to we should have 7. So far as I know, we only have 3, and this is one of those 3 images.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
That's it makes it extremely rare. And to think that one of the 3 in this country is
Right here.
at a school. I mean,
In our
a
community.
mile or two from where we are
Yes.
right now. And I know you would not, guarantee or say that, there's all kinds of miracles that are guaranteed for this, but I did experience a miracle. I think I told you about this.
Yes.
Many years ago, there was a gentleman from up in Denton. I forget his name, but he did the traveling image of Our Lady of the Tilma was traveling through, and he said, "You want to bring it have it at the radio station?" I said, "Oh yeah, of course, yeah." So that morning they brought it, and I was surprised at how big it was. I thought it was going to be really. I don't know, for some reason I thought it was small, like the size of a shirt. But they set it up, and all of a sudden I started smelling these beautiful, beautiful roses. And I asked him, I said, is she like aromatic? I mean, I can smell that. And they said, oh, no, you've been touched.
Yeah, nobody else could smell it, but you could.
And my wife and my daughter came up, and I said, "Can you smell this? Don't you?" Because it was so beautiful. And they said, "No, I don't smell it." And I said, "I mean, it's." And so, anyways,
It was a gift for you.
Do those kind of things happen a lot?
Yes, it does. And there's been miracles with this image that I have been taking around during the pandemic. I was blessed to have her a few months at home, so I would take her out to different hospitals and to pro-life organizations and to the abortion centers and go around driving. And I'm sure she was leaving all her graces and miracles because not only was this image touched to the original Tilma, which is that is why she is a relic, right? She is an authorized relic. She was also extended the graces that were given on December 12, 1531, when Our Lady first appeared and imprinted herself. So those same graces were extended by St. John Paul II to this image. So anybody who goes to your event and is in front of Our Lady will receive those graces.
And we'll have to decide how to do this because we never had this before. Of course, we've got an event going on, but there's Our Lady's image, and people are going to want to come up. And obviously, you don't do that while Bishop Strickland's talking, but
Maybe afterwards.
So there's, you come up afterwards, and you can spend some time in prayer,
and you can touch if you have a medal or a rosary or an image. You can touch it to Our Lady, and it becomes a third-degree relic.
Yeah, amazing. So I think 220 of these total. I think you said 3 in America. The other countries got them, and one of them is pretty much on a permanent basis over at the Highlands. But then you take it around. How did you get chosen for this, or how'd you get so blessed to do that?
It's funny. Well, it is. It's an honor and it's a true blessing. I just started with my children when they went to school at St. Thomas Aquinas. I was once asked to give a talk, and that's how I got involved. I started going to these classes that Monsignor Eduardo Chavez, he has a school in Mexico. It's called the Superior School of Studies of the Guadalupe, and you can take online classes and get a certificate. So I learned so much from him.
You got the certificate?
In fact, everything I say about Our Lady in my talks are based on what he says. So everything has been scientifically proven. There's other things that happen, right? We do know. But if it's not approved by him, I won't mention them.
Monsignor Chavez visited our studio. Do you remember that, Diane? How long ago was that? That was was it this year or last year?
I think it was last year,
November.
But I mean, it was like in October.
Because he was here for a Legatus
at the
talk.
cathedral.
And at the cathedral, and our friend, I think Jerry Jacob or somebody arranged it, and it was so cool because right behind you, and I hope this is showing up. William can confirm. Is this showing up on our feed? The image of Our Lady Guadalupe right behind you. That's another reason we needed to put Ingrid in that seat. That image is right there. But Monsignor Chavez, of course, I was very excited to meet him and interview him, and we're walking down the hallway, and he stops, and he probably stood there for 45 minutes. Talking about the image of Our Lady, the Tilma. And I mean, I just felt like I wanted to pinch myself, like, who gets this opportunity?
I know, all his knowledge. And then Our Lady is behind in a vault, right?
Yeah.
So, and it only, I don't know, every 20, 30 years, I don't know, they open it up and he gets to go in. Imagine that privilege. And these images were touched. And let me tell you exactly, it was in April 20th of 2004, the rector had a special private ceremony, and he touched each one of these relics, these images, to the original Tilma. That's when they opened up the vault, and they were touched.
Yeah.
So, and then on May of that same year, she was commissioned, this image was commissioned, it's called For the Life and Mercy Crusade. So she has lots of titles. So it's a very special image that you will have present for all of the people who attend. will receive those graces.
Yeah, that is so. And we need to record a spot and announce this because this is a big deal that the image is going to be there at our event. All right, Ingrid Meyer is my guest, and she works full time with the Catholic pro-life community, who we have a great relationship with, and she clearly has a great devotion to Our Lady Guadalupe and got the certificate from New Mexico and online and all that. So when you give your talks, and I still, like I said at the beginning of the show, I still remember the talk. It was over there at St. Peter's. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And my daughter and I were there. And there's so much, that
I know, there's so much
There's so
information.
much. But the thing and I want to ask you, what do people normally get amazed about? You're thinking this is a piece of art. I mean, of course, it's made by God. The musical thing is what
That's beautiful.
really kind of blows my mind. But what are some of the takeaways? Obviously, we've got about 10 minutes remaining. We won't be able to talk about all of it, but
No.
what are some of the highlights?
I think one of the most important thing that people really are amazed is with the reflections in her eyes. If you see her eyes, they're millimeters, right?
Yeah.
They're so tiny.
She's
And in
squinting,
her
yeah.
pupils, and in her pupils, they first found one in the 1950s, and then as long, with technology, and I think it was like enlarged over 2,500 times the image, they discovered up to 13 different images in both of her eyes.
Yeah, people, right?
People.
Yeah.
People that were present, because imagine when St. Juan Diego receives the flowers, right? Mary blesses them and she says, "Do not unfold your tilma, only to the bishop."
Mm-hmm.
So when he goes back to see the bishop, of course, the bishop was busy. He probably didn't see him right away. He was maybe outside waiting. So there were other people there. And when he sees the bishop and he unfolds that image, it's like that entire scene is imprinted and is captured in her eyes. You know how we reflect? Like if I get close to you, I can see my reflection.
Right.
So it's the reflection of all those people, 13 people
It was almost
standing
like
there.
a picture was taken, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, long, centuries before photography would have ever, made it. I don't. They weren't taking pictures in the 16th century.
No, and we couldn't. And we just discovered this like a few decades ago.
Yeah.
And more things come up. The music that you were talking about, that was just discovered maybe 10, 20 years ago at the most.
Mm-hmm.
So they continuously are discovering more things because we are understanding better. It is like a class of theology, I would say, looking at that image.
Yeah.
The Aztecs, they understood it right away. That's why there were over 9 million conversions in a period of 10 years.
So they would have looked at the image and
they understand, like get in line to get baptized already. Yes.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
understood
We're
everything.
so far removed and we're in a different culture that we just don't understand it. We have to be taught.
But now she's coming to us.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why Our Lady didn't come just to the Aztecs or just to the Spaniards. She comes to us daily. That is why we continue to discover things. And of all those figures, all those people that are in her eyes, there is a smaller scene, and that is the scene of a family.
Mm.
What is happening today to our family?
Yeah. Culture's
Who-
trying to destroy it.
Right?
Yeah.
Why is it now that we are discovering that at the center of her pupil is the scene of an entire family? And family, I'm talking about parents with children, a baby, 2 small children, and grandparents.
Oh, really? Extended
Yes.
family. Yeah.
So can you believe, what is she telling us? She's teaching us the importance of life and of family. A family is the nucleus of society.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
right now, families are being destroyed. Our children, babies are being attacked with abortion.
Yeah.
So how many things are happening?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, you mentioned that other title having to do with life. Is this what you're talking about, where the reflection of the family and, of course, the fact that she was pregnant?
Yeah, that is part of it. But
okay.
she's so Christ-centered, and there are so many things that the Aztecs were already doing, which when Our Lady came, they understood even the Eucharist. And I won't get into that. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But even the Eucharist, they had a ceremony that was called I can't remember. I can't pronounce it correctly, but Panquesositli, I think, and it's talking about the Eucharist, how they had a ceremony that was already very similar to the Eucharist.
Yeah.
That's why they understood when the friars came and told them, the Franciscan friars, that son is not your God. The only God is Jesus. It was hard for them. Of course they couldn't. And then imagine they went on. So the conquest ended in 1521 and she appeared in 1531. So after the conquest, all sacrifices were gone, right? They were not permitted. But so they were frustrated because they did not believe in that new religion and the Jesus that they saw on the cross. And yet they couldn't perform sacrifices.
Yeah.
So problems continued to build up. And they felt it was because they were not giving sacrifices offering them up to their gods. So when Our Lady came, they understood perfectly.
Yeah. So such good timing with all that. I always find it interesting that it also was a time, and maybe this is unrelated, maybe not, you tell me, that the Protestant Reformation was starting across the world. Do you think that's a coincidence or no?
There's no coincidence with our
I mean,
with our God.
1531, 1517 is when Martin Luther posted his 95 Theses. And then, of course, King Henry VIII, I think that was in the 1530s. And,
Everything
so
was happening at the
right
same
at the
time.
exact same time.
Yes, in fact, 1519 was when Hernan Cortés first arrived.
Yeah.
And in 1521, the conquest was
Busy
finished.
century.
Yes.
So you travel around and give talks to anybody. I think you told me on the phone you would talk to two people. If two people listen, or one person, or 1,000, you want to spread this message.
I just want to spread the message so people can fall in love, understand her better, and two, to be able to receive those graces of being in the presence of that image. That is the closest thing. If you are not able to go to Mexico City to the Basilica, this is the best thing. It's like being in front of Our Lady. In fact, the difference is here you get to be close to her and you get to touch her. At the Basilica, she's up there far away and you barely see her.
Yeah, you're on a little conveyor belt. How many times have you been there? I've never been.
I can't count.
Kind of like more than 10?
Oh, more than 50, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did you ever live there, or have you always lived in? Have you always traveled, but you've never?
No,
Okay.
there were some years I lived down in Mexico City.
Okay. And
So-
did you were going like?
Not as much. You know what? It's funny enough. You have her right there,
Yeah.
and yet you don't appreciate or value her until you're gone, and you're like, wow, why didn't I go more
Right,
often?
right.
So
Yeah,
every
you could've
time I go
gone.
down there, I try to visit her at least once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, do you want to give contact information out if people
Yes.
want to have you come to their group or Knights of Columbus or whatever? Like
Yes,
women's
or
group?
if they want to if they have like a prayer group or at their parish, or even at schools. I just had a talk we had our boot camp, our middle school boot
Yeah,
camp
yeah.
for middle schoolers, and I gave a talk. I took Our Lady and I gave a talk there. So I can do it for school. I can do it for anybody in the parish. Just call me. They can call me and contact me at 214-505-4703, or they can send me an email to guadaluperelic@gmail.com. That might be the easiest.
All right. GuadalupeRelic@gmail.com or 214-505-4703. Ingrid Meyer is her name. And how do kids respond? I'm curious. You said you talked to a bunch of, do they get it?
They love it, and
Yeah.
they have so many questions. And you know what? They understand it so much faster than we do.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. And you in Mexico, of course, I would guess. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. That pretty much everybody knows about Our Lady of Guadalupe, even if they're not.
Even if they don't.
It's seeped into the culture, right?
Exactly.
But
It's
here
part
it's not.
of not only the religion, but the culture. People
Yeah.
call themselves Guadalupan, regardless of what religion they are.
Yeah. But here, not so much. I always have this thing in my mind is that you go to the mall or you go to Walmart and you take 100 people. And just random different ages and genders and cultures and blah blah. I mean, of 100, how many people do you think have ever even heard of Our Lady of Guadalupe? I'd be shocked
it's
if it was
more than before, but it's still. I mean, I wouldn't say more than 30. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
and because people think Guadalupe, Mexico. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do with me, which is not true. She came to all of us.
Yeah.
Not only to the Aztecs, not only to the Spaniards. In fact, her hands are symbolized the bringing together those two new cultures, because her hand is even different. One hand is a little bit darker, tanned, a little bit fuller, representing the Indians, and the other one is lighter in color, representing the Spaniards. So what did she do? She's like bringing them together. And that's what she continues to do. She brings all of us together. So yes, please, I hope if you're listening out there, understand that Our Lady of Guadalupe is our mother, all of us. She came for each one of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she continues with what we discover.
Yeah. So let me give out your contact information again. Ingrid Meyer, 214-505-4703. If you'd like to invite her to an event or to come speak at, she'd come to your house if you want to bring, 10 friends together or 5 friends together. She'd love to speak to you. GuadalupeRelic@gmail.com. GuadalupeRelic@gmail.com is the email address. So I hope you get several emails on the basis of this interview. So thank you so much. And again, just to reiterate what we talked about at the beginning, at our Summer Speaker Series event, July 21st, a month from tomorrow, by the way, and I want to use the right terminology. What do we call it again? The
relic image.
The relic image. One of 3 in the whole country.
Yes. So far, I don't know. Maybe there's more. But
Which touched the original tilma in Mexico City.
and blessed by St. John Paul II.
And I love what you said is that the same graces are available as were available in 1531. That's a big deal. Yeah, that's
Very
beautiful.
special. Yes. And she is a big image. Her measurements are in meters, 107 wide by 174 in height. So
Okay.
it's a big image.
Yeah, it really is. That's what
It's
struck
the
me the
exact
most.
same size.
As the one in the original, right? All right. Well, thank you so much. And again, if you want to come to our event, there's going to be a lot going on, including this relic image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, the tilma. We hope to see you at the event Thursday, July 21st. SummerSpeakerSeries.com. SummerSpeakerSeries.com is the website to buy your tickets. They're $75, but you get a lot, including a great talk by Bishop Strickland. Ingrid, thank you very much.
Thank
great
you
to
for
see
having
you.
me.
All right, quick break. It's actually not so quick. It's 3 minutes long because we got to, transition and get David on the phone and say goodbye to Ingrid. Unless you want to hang around, you can hang around if you want. But this is the Good News Show here on KTH 910 AM, and we're going to be talking to David Cyr in a moment. He is a 17-year-old, and he is traveling to Ireland and France with Tradition, Family, and Property to evangelize the culture. And this is so cool. Wouldn't you love for your high school kid to be that much alive in the faith that they want to travel across the country, across the world, to evangelizing? So we will talk to him right after this quick break. We'll be back. Hi, this is Dave Palmer with a reminder to download the Guadalupe Radio Network app on your smartphone. It's very simple to do, and once you have the app on your phone, you can listen to a crystal clear signal of this station, KTH 910 AM, 24 hours a day, anywhere you are. If you have any questions about our app or need help setting it up on your phone, contact me through email, davepalmer@grnonline.com. All of us here at KTH 910 AM thank Sue Locks with eXp Realty for her support as a sponsor of the upcoming Summer Speaker Series event on July 21st at the Frontiers of Flight Museum in Dallas. The guest speaker that evening will be Bishop Joseph Strickland from the Diocese of Tyler, who will speak on Engaging in Battle, Empowering the Laity in 2022. For more information about Sue Locks with eXp Realty, you can visit CatholicRealtorDFW.com. That's CatholicRealtorDFW.com.
Are you struggling financially and need help? Catholic Charities of Dallas helps individuals achieve stability and self-sufficiency through financial literacy, employment services, education, food programs, immigration legal services, refugee resettlement, disaster services, and permanent supportive housing. For more information, call 866-CCD-7500.
Hello, I'm Joshua Stayfish, a member of Mater Dei Parish in Irving and a new sponsor here at KATH 910 AM. I'm the co-owner of Absolute Painting. We serve customers throughout the DFW Metroplex, help them with home improvement projects, both interior and exterior, along with painting, drywall, foundation repairs, and other projects, large and small. I welcome your opportunity to prepare an estimate for your next project. You can find us at absoluteptg.com or by phone and text at 972-375-5100.
I'll bet you know by now that Amazon Smile is a great way to support your favorite charity. And supporting the Guadalupe Radio Network while you shop is easy. Step 1. Just start off at smile.amazon.com. Step 2. Choose La Promesa Foundation as your charity. La Promesa Foundation is the parent company of Guadalupe Radio Network. And Step 3. Enjoy your shopping. Amazon will donate a portion of your purchase to the La Promesa Foundation, and it doesn't cost you any extra. La Promesa Foundation and Guadalupe Radio Network, thank you.
Sherry Van Branken, a longtime area Catholic, invites you to visit her website, CatholicPaperGoods.com, where you are able to download Catholic greeting cards, coloring pages, educational activities for your family or homeschool, art prints, and more. You can also find items such as ordination cards, sacrament invitations, and many items featuring saints of the Catholic Church. They're all able to be downloaded and printed from your home or other printing service. The website is CatholicPaperGoods.com for Catholic items for your own domestic church. CatholicPaperGoods.com.
All right, we are back, and this is the Good News Show. We are live. It is 35 minutes after the hour now. It's June 20th, and as I mentioned, a month from tomorrow, the Summer Speaker Series event is going to happen. That was a really interesting conversation with Ingrid Meyer. She got a phone call, by the way, right after we finished talking. We went to the break. Her phone rang, and somebody was calling her, I presume, to arrange for her to visit. So she's an expert on Our Lady Guadalupe, and she's got a lot of passion and love for Our Lady. So please contact her. I'll give that information out at the end of the show. All right, now we have on the line with us a wonderful young man. He's 17 years old, and his name is David Sear. And I know his parents quite well, Tom and Sue Sear, and they are just warriors for Christ and for life. And they, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, they seem to have instilled this passion for evangelization and for life in their kids, and their boys are out doing wonderful things. And it's a great honor to have David on the phone with me to talk about a trip that he is taking to Ireland and France with Tradition, Family, and Property, a group that he works with. And he's going to be leaving on, I think, July 1st and staying almost 2 months, all the way until the end of August, or nearly the end of August. And so he joins me on the phone to talk about this trip. David, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I saw on your mom sent out an email with information about your trip, and if you don't mind, it really encapsulates exactly your heart and your desire for evangelizing. I guess it's in your own writing, but let me read this real quickly, and then I want you to fill in some of the blanks and talk about why you're doing this. You say, "I'm 17. I was raised in an active pro-life Catholic family, participating in prayer and action for God since I was in the womb. I just finished my 3rd year at Amazing Catholic Men's Academy in Pennsylvania, where we are learning to be active Catholics in the culture and in spiritual warfare. God and Mary willing, I am on a lifelong path of serving Jesus and Mary as a lay crusader with TFP, America Needs Fatima, fighting in defense of the Church's teaching in society." So let me stop there. That's the first paragraph. And tell me, how did you get to this academy in Pennsylvania, all the way from Dallas? And what can you tell us about your involvement with TFP, America Needs Fatima?
Yeah, so back in, I think, 2008, Obama went to speak at Notre Dame and received some award. And my family and I all went up there since we were homeschooled. We could take some time off. And so we went up there for about a month to spread the news to the Catholics around that Obama was going to be speaking, and to counteract that. And while we were there, about during the end of the month, we encountered the TFP, and we just saw these wonderful men, and my mother saw them playing the bagpipes, and she was blown away at how wonderful it was. She said it was angelic. But yeah, that's how we met the TFP.
Yeah, so it's tradition, family, and property, and I guess, what I see them doing is, getting out into the public square, and I'm sure there's a whole lot more than that, but they are engaging quite literally in the culture. Is that a big part of what TFP is about? Is actually putting themselves out there? And sometimes, of course, that can, be a little daunting because the other side is there as well. But is that a big part of what you're doing, and especially what you'll be doing in Ireland and France this summer?
Absolutely. So the founder of TFP, Tradition, Family, and Property, was a lay Catholic thinker named Professor Fligno. And when he was very young, he saw that there was a problem in society, a deep problem that went back very far. And so he basically thought to himself, let's either I have to dedicate my life to fighting this evil that society, or I'll eventually slip in and follow the evils that society pushes forward. And so he started a small group around the 1940s that was named the Group of Fligno, that they fought mainly against communism back then, but also against divorce and abortion. So the group started then pretty small, but then throughout the years it grew larger and larger. And then they started doing this thing called the Caravan. The Caravan, which basically a group of men, maybe 10 or 15, would get in a van and then drive around a city, or actually from state to state, fighting for traditional values and against communism and abortion. And this would be for about a month, which is what I'll be participating in Europe. But yeah, this is one of the ways that they get out into society and fight for these traditional values.
Yeah. You say here in this write-up, I'll be going to Ireland and France to defend traditional values and to combat the war which the progressives have waged against God and all right morals. I'll be going with the TFP to travel through these countries on a caravan to hold street campaigns of public witness and prayer and do apostolate with the locals. You're going to be helping with camps to educate the youth about Catholic history and to enlighten them about the imminent crisis of our day. Why Ireland and France? Why did y'all choose those two countries?
Well, there was no real specific reason. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the TFP since the founding down in Brazil has spread to America and France and Ireland and Poland. But those are two of the countries that the TFP works in. And so a group of friends and I all decided that we would like to spend our summers there to fight for these good values.
Yeah, it says here something about these formerly very Catholic countries. And I don't know if you know this. I know your mom and dad know it. But I married an Irish woman and happily married to her now. And so I'm very familiar with Ireland, and it has changed dramatically. I mean, they used to send us priests, and now they hardly have anybody in seminary, and they voted in abortion. At least in America, we never voted in abortion. It was just 9 men in a Supreme Court. I mean, they voted in, so-called gay marriage. I mean, that country is lost in many ways. And so is that going to be kind of part of it? And I guess let me rephrase the question. Do you know how they're going to choose where you go, or the kind of the public witness? What kind of sites will you be at?
I'm not exactly sure where we're going specifically. There's normally a leader for the caravan, and then they decide where we'll go. It's more free-flowing than super regimented throughout the caravan. So we'll basically start at a city, and then the leader might decide that this is the next city, or if he sees that there's a real opportunity here, then they'll go there. And even a lot of times they'll see that, for example, like a certain college might be having something, and they'll go to protest it. But it's more free-flowing like that, and we just go along and then fighting for the good values for about a month.
Yeah. Do you, in the times that you've done this here in America, or stories that you've heard from TFP members, is there often pushback or counter protesters or any kind of conflict? Does it ever get I guess even a little bit scary where people are in your face, or how does that work out?
Absolutely, there is that. It's not necessarily every location that we go to, but for example, in Ireland, I think about a year ago, there was a TFP member he wasn't a TFP member. He was just helping the TFP, but he was punched in the face because he was standing up for the unborn, and I guess someone didn't like that, so they punched him in the face. But there has also been some things like that in Poland. A TFP member got his hand bitten by a leftist who also didn't like him talking against homosexual marriage. But yeah, that is definitely something we see.
I'm so impressed, and I know your family well, and I just think the world of your parents, and I know that they have had a great influence on you. But you could be spending your summer at the pool, which nothing wrong. I spent most of last week at the pool, so I'm not knocking that at all. I think we all need to relax. We need to do fun things and do that kind of stuff. But what motivates you to do this? Because what's your inspiration?
Well, there's definitely the exciting part about it, but that's not the main drive. The main reason why I do it is because there is a great need for us to be working in society to turn society back towards God and obeying Our Lady of Fatima and what she said to pray and do penance. But yeah, I just think that it's so needed in society right now. I'll be spending most of my summer doing that.
Yeah, and it's so refreshing to hear somebody, a young person like yourself, 17 years old, because the culture has infiltrated your age group so much, and I think so much relativism, so much like love is love, and just kind of just leave people alone to do what they want to do. But it's so refreshing to see somebody that loves people enough to tell them the truth, and especially in such a young age like yourself. David, I know that the airlines probably aren't giving you free flights to do this, and you've got to raise some funds, and I think somebody set up a little page for yourself. I donated myself to help you, and where are you in the fundraising area?
Yeah, so my expenses are approximately $2,200 for the entire summer. That includes the 4 Call to Chivalry camps, which the TFP also does to help educate the youth about the crises in our day. And then that also includes my flights to France and Ireland. So the website that's been set up is Life Funder. But right now we're a little bit under $1,000, so almost halfway there. But if anyone would like to donate, they can donate at lifefunder.com/TFP David. And again, that's lifefunder.com/TFP David. And that would be greatly helpful to help me fight for the culture and help bring society back towards God. But if anyone cannot donate, they can also give prayers, which is definitely more important than just the money. But absolutely everyone can pray. But if you can help to donate, that would also be very helpful.
All right, that's lifefunder.com/TFP David. Lifefunder.com TFP David. And you're $895 right now. We'll see if that needle can move a little bit between now and the end of the show. Just a couple minutes remaining here, David. You're going to be there for almost 2 months. are you? I guess the other expenses are paid, or are you guys going to be staying at youth hostels or friends, or where are you all going to be staying when you get out there?
Yeah, so the TFP creates, or they get lots of contacts while on caravan, accept as much help as possible with sleeping places overnight and food donations. So we do rely greatly upon those, but anything else the TFP would have to cover. So, but yeah.
Okay, well, very good. Well, thank you for being on, and God bless you. Like you said, pray for these young men who are going out to Ireland and France. If you go to that page that David mentioned, you can also see that write-up about who he is and what he's doing and why he's doing it and all that kind of stuff. That email, the website again is lifefunder.com. /TFP David, and that stands for the Tradition, Family, and Property. David, thanks a lot. God bless you, and I hope you raise all the funds you need, and that you go over there and really lead many souls to Christ. And so, thank you for what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Palmer, for having me on, and God bless.
All right. Thanks so much. All right, David Cyr. And I mentioned at the beginning of the program, I wanted to dedicate this entire last 30 minutes of the show to young people, and I have another 17-year-old. I mentioned William Kirkendall is interning here at the station this summer. We have 3 high school interns. They're all male this year. We sometimes have females, sometimes males, but also have a couple that come in on Fridays as well. William's coming in 2 or 3 times a week. And so, welcome, William, to the show. First time on live radio, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Well, thank you for what you're doing. I've known your parents for many years as well. In fact, I think I knew them before they even got married, when you were just a glimmer in their eye. So, tell us what motivated you to contact us and say, "Hey, I'd like to intern." What's your interest here?
Sure, absolutely. So when Sissel interviewed me and one of my friends at the debate club that we're in. I remember you and Sissel asked me before we left, you're like, do you want a job interning? And I said, I'll think about it. And as I thought about it, I was like, I think so, because like my parents weren't going to let me get a job at Chick-fil-A or a fast food restaurant or a grocery store just yet. So I was like, okay, I might as well go do something over the summer. So I'm like, why don't I intern? Mm-hmm. And so I emailed you or I emailed Sissel, and I said, I'd like to intern. And I'm glad to be here.
And about 2 seconds later, we responded, yes.
Exactly.
No, we love it. I mean, there's a lot of things we like about it. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's good help, and we need the work, and we need the volunteers. It's also it's part of the mission. In fact, I don't know if you know this, the Catholic Foundation gave us a grant last year that paid Sissel's salary because they were very interested in Sissel being a young person herself. I mean, she's in her 20s, working with young people. Mm-hmm. And so they like the idea of people like your age coming to, not just with internships, but coming in for interviews like you did with the debate club you talked about. So it's a big part of our mission. So it's helpful because, we're not going to be around forever. A guy like me and somebody else has got to pick up the mantle and do this kind of stuff. So what kind of stuff have you been doing so far? Last week I wasn't even around. I was on vacation. But what have been your tasks?
Yeah, like here at the studio. So I came in, I believe it was just Wednesday. So basically what I do here at the studio is I'm writing PSAs most of the time, and I've really enjoyed helping out with the shows on Friday, Good News Show, and all those shows. It's been really and Back to the Father, all that.
Yeah. Now you were here for one Back to the Father, right?
I was here for one back. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so that's and we're changing the time on it. It has always been 2:00 on Fridays. It's only on the social media platforms. It's not on the radio. This Friday we're going to move it to 1:00.
1:00
because we have a new show, Living a Life Lived Joyfully, that runs every day during the 3:00 hour, and those two would just bump up too close to each other. So what are you're homeschooled, right? You have been homeschooled your whole life, is that right?
I went to a Montessori school, which is a lot like a homeschool until about 6th grade, and then I started doing local co-op at the parish I attend. So, yeah, I've been homeschooled since 6th grade.
And do you have a particular interest in media, or what can you foresee yourself maybe studying in college, or what would you like to do?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed doing podcasts and things like that. I've worked with software, so it's all been the whole media thing has been really interesting. I like listening to the radio sometimes. I think for like future, like what I want to study in college, I'm thinking most likely politics, although I haven't made a final decision on that yet, but I'm looking into politics because I've always been, especially since COVID hit. I was into sports a lot before then, but but since COVID, I've been into politics. I read a lot of the news, so I'm thinking politics.
Yeah, and politics and media are obviously very intertwined, so there's always going to be, whatever you learn this summer is going to be helpful, regardless if you were to become a doctor or a lawyer or a priest or what have you. It's going to be very helpful because we live in a media age, and you have to be able to communicate, and so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad that you're doing this, and I appreciate you very much. And it's also, if somebody else is out there listening, and you have children who are in high school or probably high school. We've had some college interns, and we can do that as well. You can contact us. There's still time. If the more the merrier. If other people want to help out, you can just email kath@grnonline.com. That goes to me, Diane, and Sissel, and so you can let us know that there might be of interest. You may not know this story, but I was over at St. Philip's in Louisville. Many years ago, and a gentleman came up to me and said that his daughter would like to intern at our station, right? And typically, I'm not too impressed when it's the parent. I want the person himself to come up and say I want to, because sometimes I think, well, you want your kid to, but do they want to do it? Well, and so I said, okay, well, just have her contact me if she's interested and that kind of thing. Well, that turned out to be Sissel.
Really?
Yeah, her dad approached me and said that. So then,
nice.
So now the rest is history, of course. And Sissel's been working with us for so many years. All right, before we close out the program, and Diane, if we need to stretch a little bit, please allow us to. The connection between your dad in particular and Catholic radio. Were you familiar with this connection when you came up here for the interview?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a year or two ago, my mom told me about how my dad used to work at the studio. So I've known for a couple years.
Yeah. So, Kirkendall is your dad's name. And many years ago, and this may bear repeating, because before Guadalupe Radio Network was a thing back on October 1st, 2006, we had a group called St. Francis Xavier Society, and there's a guy named Stanley Gaines, African-American deacon from St. Anthony Parish in Dallas, who started the whole Let's Get Catholic Radio in Dallas. I mean, he started the whole thing. He ended up passing away, and he started a group. It was called the St. Francis Xavier Society, Radio Xavier for short. And we started having meetings, and I started showing up at the meetings. And I think your dad was there, and Mike Murray. And then when Stanley passed away, obviously a new leader had to emerge. And Mike Murray took over the presidency. And then, as I recall, Mike had to step down, and then your dad was a president for like a year or so. And then a guy named Paul Russo took over. And so a lot happened even before GRN came in. But when I met Len and Toya, that was the big moment, because Len and Toya really knew what they were doing and already owned and operated 9 stations. And so, anyway, so your dad was, and I'm sure your mom, I don't know if they were married or dating or what back then. This would have been like, 2000. This is a long time ago. Early 2000s.
Yeah, I know they got married in 200004. I'm not sure if maybe.
So it would have been in that time
around
period.
that time. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, thanks again.
Yes, absolutely.
For all you're doing to help out.
Of course.
William Kirkendall, and of course we have Daniel, and then it goes from Jonathan von Weber Hansberg, who's been helping us for many years as well, who's heading off to UD this fall. And of course, the story of Diane is a whole different story. I've told that before about how Diane called me, and when I found out her name was Xavier, especially with Francis Xavier, I said, okay,
it was just meant to be.
Yeah, you're in. I remember that conversation like it was yesterday. All right. Thanks to all of our guests. I promised that I would share some of the contact information. If you want to get a hold of Ingrid Meyer and ask her to give a talk about Our Lady Guadalupe, And wouldn't you know, where is that? Okay, here it is. Ingrid Meyer is an expert on Our Lady Guadalupe and the relic and the tilma and the history of all that in San Juan Diego. 214-505-4703. Or you can email her, guadaluperelic@gmail.com. And if you want to support David Sayre, go to lifefunder.com/TFPDavid. All right, thanks. God bless you. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for joining us for the Good News Show here on KATH 910 AM on the Guadalupe Radio Network. Please join us next week at the same time for the next Good News Show. KATH 910 AM, Frisco, Dallas, Fort Worth.
This is an EWTN Newslink. I'm Jack Williams. The radical pro-abortion group Jane's Revenge is planning more acts of domestic terrorism when the U.S. Supreme Court's decision on the Dobbs case is revealed. The group posted its plans on the Anarchist Library website. The Dobbs decision could overturn Roe v. Wade. An Alabama man accused